Hello and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm making budget meals for families that don't require a lot of cooking. This video is geared towards a family of 4. However, you could always use this to feed 2 people for 2 weeks, or you can easily customize this for larger families. I'll be shopping at Walmart today, and I'll have a shopping list along with recipes for you in the description area of my video. I have a recipe that calls for mac and cheese, but I realize that they now have 3 different kinds. They have the regular, the kind with the shells, and then they had a macaroni and cheese that was thick and creamy. I was planning on getting a small bag of macaroni also, and I'm thinking that since I don't need the full 2 boxes of the macaroni, that maybe I could use some of that out of the thick and creamy, because I do like that style of macaroni best. I think that's what I'm going to do, and I also might be able to do something fun with part of the cheese packet. I'm picking up a 5-pound bag of potatoes because I plan to use these in at least 2 recipes, and then they'll be left over and can be used in a variety of ways, and also because potatoes are super filling, so not going to be any hungry tummies with this in the house. I noticed also that they had a 3-pound bag of sweet potatoes for $3.88. So that's an option also. However, one of the recipes I'm going to be making, I don't think I'd want to swap out for the sweet potatoes, but you can watch the video and see if you would have rather had the sweet potatoes or not. Okay, and here's another thing I wanted to mention. I am planning to have baked potatoes one night for dinner, and I had an option to either top those with chili or with bacon pieces. I'm also planning to have some sharp cheddar and some sour cream, and these are going to be dinner potatoes, so I want them to be filling, and I'm thinking that the chili is going to be the best option. But if you were planning to do this meal and you wanted to get the bacon pieces, you could always do that instead. I chose a can of the Nelly chili for $1.66 and was surprised to see that it was actually less expensive than the Walmart Great Value brand for some reason, but that's my family's favorite canned chili, so I know they'll like this. With all of those potatoes, I could also do chili cheese fries instead of chili baked potatoes. I'm gonna have to think on this some more. I found the cheapest ground beef hiding in the frozen section. If you want to save $1, you can always sub that out for ground turkey, but I thought I'd use ground beef this time. As I mentioned earlier, I'm planning to include popular American foods in this video, and I thought what could be better than hot dogs? So I did some research online and decided on the Bar-S regular classic Franks. But it looks like the best seller in hot dogs is the jumbo size, and that's just 38 cents more. However, I am trying to keep the budget as low as possible today, so I'm just going to go with the regular ones. And from the reviews that I read, they say that this is a fine hot dog, and I'm planning to do something special with this anyway, and I'll tell you more about that later in the video. From the looks of this, they sell a lot of these hot dogs. I need cheese for my menu, and I don't want to get shredded because it just doesn't taste as good. The last 3 times I've been to Walmart, they've been out of their Greek plain yogurt, and I want to say I'm not annoyed, but I am, because I really like using that instead of sour cream. I even looked at the Yoplait, and that one was out as well, so I think everyone else is doing the same thing. So I just picked up a sour cream. And I picked up the spaghetti for 93 cents, but we do need to have a discussion about this later, so more on that in a minute. Okay, here's our grocery haul that's supposed to feed 4 people dinners for an entire week. I have lots of convenience items here. 2 reasons for that. Number 1, because it's more convenient for families, and number 2, it's just less expensive. I could have purchased dry beans, but it would have cost considerably more upfront, so I ended up getting the cannellini beans. Same thing, if I was going to make my own macaroni and cheese, it just would have been cost prohibitive, and my goal with this meal plan was to get it down to as little as possible. We don't have a lot of veggies here, but unfortunately, when you're eating on a super tight budget, it's hard to have both meat and fresh veggies. Some of my viewers have even told me that they stopped eating meat altogether, and it's not out of choice. It's simply that they can't afford it any longer. That's why I've been trying to make $3 to $4 meals that includes small amounts of meat so that people can find a way to include it into their budgets. Anyway, I'm excited about this menu. I have lots of different kinds of foods, and I think they'll be pleasing for families. Let's go ahead and get into making the meals, and then you can see what you'd like to change if you do this for yourself. And I'm also going to have some tips for you and options on how to trade out a couple of the items if you want to do something different. When I was planning this video, I realized I've never made spaghetti with meat sauce on my channel, and my family loves this, and I think everybody does, so I thought I would make it now. If you need to cut out $4 or $5 from this meal plan, just make a spaghetti with marinara and don't use the ground beef. You can also save a little extra by just purchasing 1 lemon instead of the 2 tomato sauce cans and making lemon spaghetti with a little garlic powder. That's a delicious option. I'm using tomato sauce from my pantry, but you'll use Great Value brown tomato sauce. It tastes just as good as the one I'm using. One of my favorite budget hacks is to use tomato sauce to make my own marinara, and it always turns out so much better than store-bought. I'll just be using garlic powder, some Italian seasoning, and onion, but you can certainly make this without the Italian seasoning. Now we need to talk about the spaghetti. I've changed my mind about this. Last night, I did a taste comparison, and hands down, I like the Walmart brand better. So for me, it's not going to be worth it to save the 21 cents on the spaghetti. As you can see, the Walmart brand is bigger, and I just wasn't able to get the right kind of al dente and to have it have that chew that I like. So I'm going to have to stick with the Walmart brand. So I've browned my ground beef, and it does have quite a bit of fat, so you know it's going to also have a lot of flavor, but I'm going to go ahead and drain this. You can save that if you need to and use that to cook other items or to flavor soups or whatever, but I've drained this, and I'm going to go ahead and take out a small amount because I need to use a little bit of this in another dish that I'm going to be making later in the week. I'm hoping that 2 cans will be enough for a family of 4. If so, we're going to be saving a lot of money on this tomato sauce as compared to the cheapest marinara at Walmart, which I believe was the Walmart brand for $1.48, as compared to 88 cents for these 2 cans of tomato sauce. But even if you had to add a 3rd can, you're still well under that price. It might seem trivial to some of my viewers, but all of these little decisions do add up, and when you're low on funds or you're living on a fixed income, it does make a huge difference. First of all, let me just say that my house smells amazing. I love spaghetti night. I tasted this and added a little bit more garlic powder, and I added salt for the first time as well. I'll let that simmer for just a few minutes, and then we should be good to go. This is my favorite consistency of meat sauce. It's not too meaty and it's not too saucy. It's got that in between, and I think it's perfect for coating spaghetti. I feel like this is enough for 4 people. If you had 4 adults, then maybe I would add another can of tomato sauce on, but I think if you have 2 kids, then I think that this would work. And for my viewers that have asked me for help with gluten-free and low-carb options, I tried this Hearts of Palm spaghetti, and I'll have a review of this at the end of my video. I garnished this with a little parsley, and then I tried this, and it was really good. I love the flavor of this sauce. And after I was done with this, I wrapped this up for my sons to eat later on, and they both said that they thought the sauce was really good. Next up, I'm making chili cheese dogs. When I decided to make hot dogs, I thought of this iconic hot dog place in LA called Pink's Hot Dogs. People love their hot dogs, and it's always so busy that there's a line around the building. It's really hard to get into. I thought it would be fun to recreate a budget version of their best-selling hot dog, and from what I can tell, it's the chili cheese dog. I've never tried this hot dog chili sauce before, but it was only 74 cents, and this is going to go a long way towards keeping the meal costs low. I'm just going to shred this block of cheese. I know I always get the same kind, but I think it's a really good value for extra sharp cheddar. It's a great melter, and it does have a bit of a bite to it in the sharpness of the cheese, which is really hard to get in low-cost sharp cheddars. I'm setting aside a small amount for the hot dogs, and then I'll save the remainder for other meals. I'm going to cut slices into the hot dogs on one, and then on the other I'm going to do a crisscross shape, and then I'll see which one I like better. But this will open the hot dog up and allow the chili sauce to go down into the hot dog and give it some more flavor. These were tasty. My family really enjoyed these, and I wrapped a couple of these up for lunch for one of my sons. Pink's Hot Dogs also has a popular chili dog that has mustard and onions on it, so those are options if you have them. We have enough supplies to make 8 chili dogs. That could be dinner for one night, or you could use the potatoes to make French fries and get 2 meals out of this. Here are some French fries that I made from the potatoes. I've recreated the Taco Bell potato tacos on my channel before, but in that recipe, I used French fries. One of my viewers recently shared with me another version of the potato taco, and this one uses mashed potatoes that are seasoned with garlic, cumin, and salt and pepper, so I thought it would be fun to try. My viewer Eileen says that she fries the shells until they are crispy but still pliable, and I think having a crispy shell will go well against the soft texture of the potato. She also tops hers with sour cream, which is why I purchased the sour cream for this grocery haul. And I didn't show me cooking the potatoes because obviously everyone knows how to make mashed potatoes. I will just say though that I did salt my water that I cooked the potatoes in. It helps them to turn out perfectly seasoned. And then I just added a little bit of pepper to the top. And you guys, this is definitely a winner. This is such an inexpensive meal, but it's so good. The addition of the cumin in there just really changes everything. I mean, you really taste the garlic and the cumin together, and it just all goes well. I was thinking about all the fun things you could do with this recipe. It might be fun to have the family involved with picking what different types of sauces they want to try, especially if you have a condiment drawer or any type of condiment that you've been saving over the years. I found a ranch that I wanted to try. I also thought of spices in my pantry that might work here. I recently discovered this buttery burger blend. I think this would be a nice mix in with the potatoes, and it's a nice option if you can't afford butter. I'm not super crazy about this red hot, but I might try that in the mashed potatoes. And then I also have all of this cheese powder left over from the macaroni and cheese. I might try some cheddar potatoes with this. You'll see me use the macaroni later in this video. This one turned out good also. I tried the ranch dressing on this and liked that as well. And then I got really crazy and decided to try a version with fried cheese. I wanted the taco to still be crispy, so I just did this on one side, and this taco was so good. Basically, if you've never had fried cheese before, you're missing out because it results in an intensity to the cheese flavor, but it's also chewy at the same time. So it's just a flavor explosion. And I added a little of the chipotle Tabasco to this, and it was really good. I would say that this was one of my favorite tacos, along with the original, with just the cumin. The thing with the fried cheese is it is very rich, so it's not like you'd want to eat 4 of them. I think maybe I would, if I was doing this for dinner, for this meal plan, I would do 3 of the mashed potato with cumin, and then 1 of these with the cheese, and you should have enough cheese to be able to do that. And I also tried adding melted cheese on the inside of the taco, and that was actually surprisingly my least favorite option. So there's enough here for everyone to have 4 tacos, and then you would have a couple of shells left over out of the 18. And the nice thing about this meal is it doesn't require a lot of your potatoes, but it is a very filling meal. The next meal I'm making is dinner baked potatoes with chili. I cleaned my potatoes and rolled them in some oil and then salted the skin with this garlic salt. Potatoes do need a lot of salt. I was thinking about the Outback Steakhouse potatoes because in my opinion, those are the perfect baked potatoes. I do also like potatoes cooked with a slice of onion on the inside, so that's always an option if you have onions. But if you're going to do it that way, then you would need to wrap it in foil, and the exterior wouldn't be as crisp as I prefer. When you toss these in oil and bake them uncovered in a hot oven, this shell just becomes so crispy, and it's my favorite way to eat potatoes. I decided to garnish with a few pieces of chopped chives, and really that was just to make it look prettier for the camera. And I also added a little tapatio, but I think any kind of hot sauce would be good on this. I was also thinking that people might not want to make baked potatoes if they're in a place where it's hot right now, so I made some chili cheese fries also, just so you know that's always an option with your ingredients. My next recipe was recommended to me by at least 4 of my viewers. This is a tuna one-pot meal that can quickly be thrown together. If you don't like tuna, you can always substitute the tuna for 1 can of chicken. Most of the recommendations were for just 1 box of macaroni and cheese, but one of my viewers, I believe it was Wendy, said that this feeds 3. So I'm going to use a portion of the noodles from the second box to ensure that I'm able to feed 4 people. I took out just over a half cup of the macaroni that I'll be using in a soup later in the week. I salted the water that I boiled the macaroni in. I'm using the ingredients to make a one-pot meal, but I know sometimes people use those ingredients to make a casserole, so I thought it would be fun to use a small amount to make a mini casserole, and I think I'm going to use this smaller pan. I pulled out a small amount of the macaroni for the casseroles when it was about halfway done because I didn't want them to overcook in the oven. One of my viewers said to add in a can of any kind of cream soup. Another one called for a can of cream of mushroom, and I think the third one didn't use any soup here, and the fourth one just used a regular macaroni and then added in a cheese sauce. I decided to use cream of chicken soup only because I thought that some kids might be a little turned off by the cream of mushroom soup. I guess I was thinking of my own kids when they were younger. So anyway, I mixed this up and then I tried it and I did not like it at all. It had an overwhelming flavor of the cream of chicken soup, which was in contrast to how you would think that this would taste. You would think it would taste like a nice cheese sauce. But anyway, I went ahead and added in 3/4 of the tuna along with the peas, and I also let my son taste this and he was not a fan either. So then I thought to myself, maybe I should have used the cream of mushroom soup. So luckily I had some of that macaroni set aside. Otherwise, I probably would have redone this whole recipe, but I tried this with the cream of mushroom and it was really good. Something about the cream of mushroom soup that doesn't compete with the flavor profile of the cheese sauce, and instead it accentuates it. Another thing is I'm using canned peas and carrots. I know sometimes people will use frozen peas, but I was trying to get the budget down as much as possible. I thought that this ended up turning out tasty like that. I also tried this in the little casserole dishes. I topped each one with a small amount of our cheddar and then baked at 400 degrees for about 15 minutes. The texture on this was nice because it had those crispy bits and it was a little chewy around the top, and the macaroni was cooked perfectly. It would have held together better with either one egg added into this or a little more cheese. As you can see, the one on the left held together fairly well, and I think that one had a little bit more cheese on it. I liked both versions of this dish. Sometimes you want a big bowl of something creamy, and other times you want a casserole. You could also make this recipe with these egg noodles with the tuna, veggies, cream of mushroom soup, and cheddar cheese. And I know some people like to add crumbled crackers to the top so that it makes a crunchy layer on their casserole. For my next dish, I'm making pasta fagioli, and it doesn't normally have potatoes in it, but I'm just having that one on standby in case I need some extra bulk in my soup. But these are the ingredients that we have left over. I've got a half cup of macaroni, I've got some beef, I'm going to use half of the can of corn, I've got a carrot, and also some tomato sauce. I took out a big bowl of this for myself before adding in the ground beef, and I didn't feel like I needed to add any of the potato in, so I used that potato for my next dish. I really enjoyed this meal, and it's very hearty with those cannellini beans in addition to the pasta. If you use the hot dogs to make meals for 2 nights, then you would have already made 7 meals. However, if not, I'm just going to throw out another meal idea for you. This has corn, potatoes, and the cut up hot dogs, along with some garlic, salt, and pepper. Earlier in the video, I told you that I would be sampling a gluten-free, low-carb spaghetti option because some of my viewers have asked for help with these type of foods. So I tried this Hearts of Palm spaghetti that another viewer told me about. This is available at Walmart. It wasn't cheap at $3.42, but there was quite a lot in this can. You're supposed to rinse these, but I wanted to taste these right out of the can, and they had a nice texture to them. I would say it's kind of similar to a bamboo shoot. But then you're supposed to also rinse them. I read quite a few reviews on this product, and some people boil them to make them a little bit softer, and some people just use them straight out of the can after rinsing them. And that's what I would do, because I don't think I'd want these any softer. I tried these with the spaghetti sauce that I made earlier, and I actually thought this was really good. It doesn't taste exactly like spaghetti, but it's good. So if you have one person in your family that has type 2 diabetes or needs to eat gluten-free, I think in that case, it's a really good idea to have one of these cans on hand, and then that way they don't have to miss out on spaghetti because, like I said, I thought it was really good. I also noticed that Amazon had some other products that utilize the Hearts of Palm, so that's always an option as well. And I noticed that they had another palmini product that was linguine style instead of the spaghetti, and it might be fun to make a fettuccine alfredo with that sometime. That's it, friends. I do hope you liked this video. I want to thank all of my viewers for sharing their recipes with me, and for this video, I want to thank Eileen, Susan, Wendy, Debbie, and Rita. I appreciate you all, and please keep those delicious budget-friendly recipes coming. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you soon.